focus on Claude Co-Work and ChatGPT Work. Those will be game changers for you because, yes, it will help you identify your audience, think through and brainstorm with the highest reasoning model.
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
I'm your co-host, DJ. How's it going today, Deuce?
Hey, DJ, you know what? We got a lot of things to talk about, but of course, today we got a special guest with us. We have Miss Lenita Hosten, the proud owner of Vocal Value. And we are going to welcome her here to the Autonomous Income channel. And we're going to just talk with her about her business and what she has been doing and creating. And we're going to see how we can help her and talk through a few things through with her. So, without further ado, Linnita, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people here.
First, shout out to Deuce. Shout out to DJ. Thank you for creating this platform for creatives in this space and intersecting technology because we need y'all. I'm Lenita Hosten, and I turn high visibility leaders into skilled communicators. And the reason why we should be skilled in communicating when we're in leadership is because that's the only way to build trust, morale, and connectivity on any team. So we do that through communication skills trainings, workshops, and keynotes. And I'm excited to be here to talk a little bit more about the work in detail.
That's awesome. All right. I know we can all use a little bit of that. I personally have known Linnita for years, right? And I bounce ideas off of her all the time, DJ. So this is going to be definitely a treat. But you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's kind of, take a peek under the covers of what Linnita has been doing. Talk to her about some of the tech stuff that she is using, because this is what we're here for. We want to unveil and introduce our audience to some things that they may potentially need, but also be not privy to. I know Linnita has been coming out with a lot of new things and uncovering new things in her business. So, yeah, DJ, you got any questions real quick? We want to run past Linnita first.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I'm excited because one, I know, Deuce, you've known Lenita for a while, and I'm just meeting Lenita. So, and very curious because you're right, like in corporate or in leadership and everything like that, communication. I coincidentally currently taking some of these courses, and we have people that are on site and virtual that are helping with leadership kind of training right now. So, like when you go out to conferences, and it's more so targeted for thought leadership, right? So it's like how you can convey your message and talk about like what you have plans for. But I think all of that's also in line when you're like, giving your team speeches and trying to boost morale and do all those things as well. So, Lenita, I guess I would target to you is just like, what are some of those just normal things that you like? How do you start that journey, right? So, if you get into leadership, you might be newer. How does that kind of work from your perspective?
I'd say the easiest thing that you can start doing is just recording your meeting. And that is either virtual meetings or in-person meetings because we don't know what we don't know about ourselves. And a lot of the things we can't see that we're doing in real time, whether that's tone, word choice, body language, eye contact, or lack thereof. So a very simple, basic thing, if you are in leadership and you want to begin to evaluate your competency as a communicator, start recording your meetings and playing them back.
That's definitely true because I have watched some recordings of mine before, and like I was telling before we started recording, that there's words that I say often, and I still fight to this day. That I say, there's this common, there's filler words, and you say that, and like when you go back and like I want to say Teams has this coach or something, it's an AI feature that they have now, and it'll go through there and it'll let you know of like filler words or if you where your pace was fast, so it actually does that in Teams now. They have a feature that they enabled, and it'll go back and it'll kind of let you know, like, anything that you say over and over again. So it kind of gives you a rating, basically. And I think that's super helpful as well. But I think, definitely having a coach and having that ability to talk to somebody and listen to it. Because I remember my freshman year, I want to say in college, I took speech, and that was one of the things. It was just like, hey, you do this, and when you can identify it, then that way you can build better habits. So, yeah.
So I want to dive right in. So being that we have, you're essentially training individuals and coaching them how to communicate and be proper communicators and orators, right? What have you seen now, or what do you use now as far as technology goes? How do you tie that into your business, right? DJ was talking about that coach on Microsoft Teams that is very beneficial. Have you seen or used things now that can bring more technology to either your clients or to your business specifically for you?
I have not. And you guys are
Not
forcing me
yet.
to think about that. No, I haven't. When it
And
comes
I think
to
that's important.
Yeah.
working with my clients, I have not integrated technology in supporting them. And
Mm,
I will be honest, I'm a little apprehensive about some of these tools when it comes to communication skills because there's nothing like being able to communicate on the spot and in person. Technology cannot improve that. So I hate to give them a set of training wheels that doesn't empower them impromptu. Because a lot of times people are coming at a very basic level, like, I'm not even confident with this. I'm still
mm,
developing language around, like, help me build that. But to your point, for a more established communicator who has a baseline of confidence and now wants to go to the next level in terms of building out their content and being strategic about their thought leadership, then yes, then I feel like they would be a good prime
That's fair.
for technology only because their identity is established. The thing about AI tools when it comes to communication is if you're not, you will be eating or speaking someone else's words. Like I always say, develop your own leader language first, and
That is
then
that
you
is
can
fair.
program a technology to. But you see how many levels it's going to take to get. Like usually, the clients that are coming to me, they do not have leader language yet. But to your point, it's something I need to be thinking about.
Well, to that point though, I want to challenge you for this.
Okay.
So what me and DJ deal with on just a daily basis, right? Your everyday user, we know about ChatGPT, we know about Google Gemini, Claude. Those are what we call the big three, essentially, as it goes with AI tools. Now, since you are building, you have classes, you have programs, you have curriculums I know that you use to teach your clients, right? And you talked about leader language. You can essentially train one of these models on what a leader language looks like. And you could format that in a way. Granted, when you put it in, it comes out a certain way, but you can continue to curtail it in a way that it looks like a script almost of how you would teach it, right? And I'm just thinking about how to utilize some of these tools for you. And I think what's something that could benefit you is agentic workflows or using an agent. There's plenty of them out there where they're using Claude, Perplexity has some, or even some like Censure. You could have these agents or sub agents do specific tasks for you. Think of it as multiplying yourself. You train them up a little bit, tell them how you want them to do, you critique them, right? And these sub agents go and do these tasks for you and build out these either manuscripts or mantras, build out that leadership language, and you can use that for your clients, right?
I
These are
like
the
that.
type of tools that I get exactly what you're saying. AI and technology has taken a turn. However, there are definitely ways you can use it that is going to be beneficial to you, right? I try to tell a lot of people to use it to your advantage. And not only that, use it to work with you, not for you, right? And that is kind of the key behind some of those things. But yes, that is pretty sweet. That's awesome,
yeah.
honestly.
I would say that there's a few lanes, right? So on the lane of you running and operating the business, you have the agentic workflows and you have stuff that is going to make it life easier for you to supplement yourself and your learning and or the way your methodologies and everything, like your thought process. And I think that's really cool and that can help you out. But I think you did touch on something a little bit earlier that I don't want to gloss over. You were saying that I think you were saying in the moment, right? Like in the moment, if somebody has to be on the spot and they have to converse, in different scenarios, is just like, what can they do there, right? Like that's why you're saying get your own frame of mind essentially beforehand, and then you can go and you become a thought leader. I mean, at least in my mind, like I think that might take a different skill. Because one of the things I was going to ask you, Lenita, is just like, so I understand that you came from education, right? Like you came from an education background, and then you went into like student success and coaching C-suite executives and whatnot. So what did you have to unlearn? And like, did you feel like an imposter in the boardroom at first? Like, what did you have to from making that segue?
Yeah, great question. And you're well studied.
Yeah, I try.
The biggest thing that I had to unlearn was that I was not good enough. Because when you're making a pivot into a new industry, after already having a sense of credibility in another industry, you're literally starting over. It's almost like divorcing your spouse and marrying a new one. Like it's a new, everything is new. And yeah, just believing that I was good enough to also be successful in a new space and reestablishing my identity there. And it took a while because even today, people still say, "Oh, you work with you," and I have to correct them. No, I did, and
I
I
did.
can.
Yeah. Yeah.
but my focus is on today's leader. So technically, I'm just growing up with the audience that I was with. I'm growing up with them. So I like to reframe it from that point of mind. But outside of that, you'd be surprised how many people are not comfortable in investing in things it seems intangible. Like there's no usually direct, if you do this, you get this. There are a lot of investments I had to make in order to even be positioned as a thought leader. Sometimes have to educate people why that's important.
Why do you think it's so hard for them to like see the value in that though? Like that's one thing. Like what do you think is it just because they don't ever think they would find themselves successful in that, or like what do you think it is that makes them uncomfortable with like thinking like, oh, I need to invest in making this still a little bit better?
I think we all feel like we can always figure out a way to do it. I can figure it out. Some people, I can figure this out. YouTube, there are a lot of free resources that you could, if you really invested the time, you could probably piece them together and get a substantial amount of learning. But I think what investment does is gonna expedite that learning curve. So you could get even on my YouTube, if you sat there and watch all the videos, you probably come out very well. You're gonna be learning for a long time, but you could walk away with some solid things. But it's expedited learning curve and the assistance in your growth and the ability to ask questions that are timely to your development. I think which make investing like ideal for a person like me. And only people who like accelerated growth. Like, I don't want to be here for a long time.
For a
I
long
want to
time,
make
yeah.
progressive movements.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
acceleration excites me. For other people where I don't want to move that fast, they might be okay with self-paced learning. So I do think that plays a part in it.
No, yeah, I appreciate it because there is different types, right? Like for me, getting into real estate investing at one point in time, like there's like all these like gurus that are out there, and there's all these ways that you can kind of like you can take a slower pace and try to learn it yourself and kind of run into it, or you can pay for somebody else's time. And I think I want to say Cody Sanchez, somebody, she's a big YouTuber. I'm sure y'all have
I
seen
know,
her
Cody.
before. Yes, Cody. Yeah, so Cody is that was one of her pillars as well. One of the things that he said is you can pay for somebody's 10,000 hours, right? Like, Deuce, anytime I have anything, like if I'm thinking of something technical, like, anything developer oriented, like I'm gonna hit him up and I'll think through, like if he can, because his engineer mindset, right? Like he's putting in well enough hours. I mean, that dude's going back to school, like and getting his master's and everything like that. I was done with school and I was like, I'm out of there. I'm not going back. But, like and that's one of the things we click with is because I love he's always curious, right?
Yeah,
And
he
I
is.
am also, but it's like, like Lenita, you probably have some friends that you know who to call because the way that their mind thinks, and or if they put in time on something, you can reach out to them and you know that you're going to get a good quality answer or you'll get good quality. It could be a dietitian or whatever, like, people and different things. So I find that beneficial because it's just like, I know somebody's putting that time and effort. And that's why I think like you can see the value that's based in there. But yeah, Deuce, what are your thoughts on
Mhm.
that?
No, I think, seeing that value is absolutely beneficial. But on the spin of getting that value, Lenita, how do you source, I guess, your clients and getting them into getting that investment, right? How do you source those? Because I have an idea for you. I'm just trying to pick your brain real quick.
When you say source, you're referring to how I get them into my ecosystem?
Yeah.
Yeah, so organic content, Google Ads, and that's organic content on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And then also through my email list. I use a storytelling approach in my newsletters that lead to a call to action. Typically, it could be a class or a service or an event.
That I think is absolutely picture perfect. Like I love that. I mean, me and DJ, we've talked about this. I'm really into the digital marketing aspect. Linnita, you know that I do a lot of that thing. So that organic grasp is very, very beneficial because you feel like you grasp more of a connection. Now, I'm asking just solely because I want to introduce you to there's more tools out there potentially if you're open to the things that they can do, right? And when we talked about some of the agents and agentic matters, right? You can still take that same storytelling aspect to your newsletter to get a more targeted, let's say, audience using different AI tools. DJ, we covered this tool a while ago and I can't remember it, Lenita. I'm gonna get it to you and I may link it into this episode, but there's a tool out there that helps you source clients based on your specific need for your business to help you grow, or also finding those clients that you may never thought you could reach, right? and vice versa for those people who need what you are offering, but they don't know yet. And although Google Ads and natural content on YouTube works, man, when I tell you there's tools out there that do things that traditional marketing couldn't do in 10 years, let alone what they can do in minutes. Crazy. So I would
Yeah.
definitely send those over to you. And I think that'd be awesome for your business when you are ready to incorporate that. Because I know when that happens, things can kind of boom when they do, right? So yeah, I think that is really cool how you are sourcing and what you are looking to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
was gonna
can't
say,
wait to hear more about it.
yeah. Lenita, have you played around with the Claude Co-Work or
Haven't. I have
okay,
never
okay,
used
yeah.
Claude
Yes.
or
Oh,
Claude
Listen,
Co-Work because I heard of
listen, your homework,
whoa.
look, your
I'm acting like
homework
I didn't hear
tonight,
that.
your homework is
Yes.
tonight is to delete everything no, I'm kidding. Do you use ChatGPT? Well, let's start there. All right.
everything is
Okay.
So
in there. Can I migrate it? Can I
You
migrate it?
can.
actually,
You can. You
you
can.
absolutely can.
You
There is a
can. Yeah.
way and a quick Google search at YouTube. And as a matter of fact, ChatGPT might even tell you how to do it itself.
Or I mean, you have us. Like we'll show you to you. Yeah.
I encourage you to check out Claude or Gemini, the free features, right? First, but if you have a paid subscription for ChatGPT, all well and good. There are other models out there that do things differently and a little bit better in certain ways, right? Check out Gemini, check out Claude.
Yeah, drop like a list of those. The reason I bring that up, Lenita, is because exactly what you're talking about. So there's full on agentic workflows and everything, but I would say like as an entrepreneur, you don't also want to. You got to figure out where to spend your time at, right? You don't want to burn yourself trying to build up too much operation and too much, everything like that. That leads to one of my questions that I have about scaling your business, but I'll get to that question. But the reason I bring up Claude Co-Work and there's also what OpenAI just released with ChatGPT Work. It's their competition product to Claude Co-Work. Me personally and Deuce, I think Deuce has actually been using Perplexity a lot. So he's like told me about Perplexity Computer. I think like, so he kind of talks about that. That's another one. But I would say right now, if you focus on Claude Co-Work and ChatGPT Work, those will be game changers for you because yes, it will help you identify your audience. It is really like having a digital assistant now with these models. Claude Co-Work, actually, if you tie it in with Fable, their latest and greatest model, Fable 5, that one is super solid because that model can see around corners. It is really like a business consultant or a manager, kind of work with you, and then it can use the smaller models, for more tactical to build out a deck and document. But you can do your strategizing with a Fable 5 because that'll be another reasoning thinking. And then you can use smaller models for just more execution, like build this draft, deck, or whatever the case is. So now it does slides because now with MCPs and
Wait a minute, wait
that,
a minute, wait a minute. What is a fable and what is an impact?
yeah,
All
yes,
right,
yeah. So
let's see
Fable,
slow. So Fable is the name essentially
yes,
of the latest model. And when we
model,
talk about
exactly.
models, but
Like when
language,
Safari has models of different, they call
yeah.
them. Okay,
So
yeah.
language versions, right?
Mhm.
Learning language model or LLM is what each version of, let's say, ChatGPT or Gemini comes out with. Claude's latest one is called Fable 5. They just give it a
Large
Got
language
it.
name.
model, yeah. Large language model, yeah, yeah.
ChatGPT or OpenAI, they don't give theirs cool names. It's just
He's been on,
GPT
yeah. Hey, man,
5.6.
Deuce has been on this. I think we made a video about their naming conventions, right? He's been he's just like, OpenAI, I need y'all to really get good with these naming conventions. But
They don't have
yes,
any
like
cool naming conventions, right? It's just
it's just
GPT
numbers, yeah.
5.6, right? So,
Now,
for
with the
example,
latest one, it is 5.6 Soul. They have Soul, I want to say Luna and something
yeah,
else. They did, they tried to do it a little bit cooler this time. So, but yes, if you use Fable 5, the reason I mentioned that's Claude's
latest and greatest.
latest and greatest high-end model, and they have different model versions. And if you know it, the thing I would leave you to, Lunita, as a business owner, is these models. Think of them as like how smart somebody is, like a senior executive thought leader. Like that's where your Fable is, right? And then you might have like some junior employees, which are some of these other models, right? So if you want to think about it like an employee, if you want one to just execute on something, then maybe the smaller models. But you want to riff and do the like your thought process and like think through and brainstorm with the highest reasoning model, like one of thought. So that's Fable 5. And then on ChatGPT side, as Deuce always talk about, they have 5.6 Soul. I think, do tell me, is there's Soul, there's Luna, and there's another, and some, yeah, there's one more basically. So they have 3 tiers, and it's kind of the same thing. So we can break all those down to you. It's nothing like, but either way, the harness that you'll be using with the co-work feature, Lenita, is like that's where you'll be able to brainstorm, have a draft documents. You can even help out with your newsletters that you have, right, with your own personal twist. So it's nothing that you ever have to lose touch with. It can actually, you can upload all of your old newsletters or point it to where they if you use Google Drive, they'll read all of them, and that way it'll get your tone. So there's skills that you'll be able to create also that have like your own personal writing. I have skills with mine with that run on my social media, and it's helped me scale mine to almost like 40,000 followers on the social media platform because it starts to learn, your what you have, and you still have execute control. So you can say what to post, what not to post, all this other stuff, but it can automate a lot of your workflows. Talking about what Deuce was talking about before with some of the agentic workflows that you can have to automate the operations of the business. But and MCP is a model context protocol, and that's what really has opened these agentic models up, in my opinion, or agentic workflows up to really scale and really be valuable. But yeah, Deuce can get more into that.
Yeah, but those are just some things for you to chew on, something to think about. But real quick, Lenita, what have you been working on? What's new? What are you coming out with? Have you dropped anything lately? Tell us what is on your docket.
This year, I've released my 5th book. It's called Earn Your Influence, Become the Person People Trust, Follow, and Grow With.
Nice.
And we kick
That
off
is
a book tour. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I
awesome.
always say every project, I'm always amazed at how it turns out. But this one is my first book for adults. The other 4 were for high school
Listen,
and college students.
DJ, she said her fifth book. I ain't even got one.
I know. I know. I was,
Listen, she
oof.
said fifth. The only fifth book I get is in spades, okay?
It's and that's a
But
good
no, that
hand
is
right there. That's a
awesome.
good hand.
That is awesome, Lenita. We'll definitely go ahead and tag your book for those listening.
For sure.
Lenita, go ahead. Tell us what the book is about. You said this is the first one you've done for adults.
Yeah, because there's a stigma that when you emerge into leadership, there is a aura that gets people to respect you
Mm,
or to follow you. And I want to demystify that. I do not think that's sustainable, nor is it doesn't create a healthy sense of culture. It
yeah,
That's good.
also doesn't
that's
create a
good.
sense of identity for a person in a healthy way. And so earning your influence is about looking below the surface regarding your life experiences and what you've been exposed to. Where did you learn what a leader looks like and how they show up?
That's
So
good.
lots
That's good.
of self-reflection, storytelling, and like human psychology infused. If all 3 of those people had sex and had a baby, it would be earn your influence.
And that's awesome because all I can think about now is kids nowadays talk about how aura farming is the thing, right?
Man,
And
that's all or
and
farming and yeah.
whatever that means to you or them, I think your book is the key for that
Never
aura
heard of
farming.
that. Wait a minute. You're gonna have to
Oh
catch me
yeah.
up.
Oil
All
farmers, I
right.
hear
Well,
that
look,
all the
we
time.
might have
Yeah.
to talk about that one offline, but aura
Okay.
farming, just go talk to any teenage kid today, or you
They'll
can
know
Google it
exactly what that is.
and ask what aura farming is, and they'll tell you.
I'm kind of
And
scared.
it is not a bad thing, but I really think if you tap into that market with those kids, they would love your book. You tell them your book is about aura farming and how to be the greatest version of
So
yourself.
that might be the first book they buy, right?
I guarantee it. Like I look, that's my 2 cents on the whole thing, and I guarantee it. But that is awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
So one of the quotes I believe that you had is, "I wasn't always the woman who could command a room." So who was she before? Like who was that woman before that couldn't, and what specifically was hard? And like when did like the voice actually change? Like when did that change for you? Like just because that was one of the things that stood out to me. Like when I was kind of looking at that.
No one has ever asked me that.
A little stumped, stumped.
It just stuck out to me. I mean, like when you said I wasn't the woman who could command the room, because I mean, not necessarily the woman part, but like, you can resonate with that. You're not always the person, that you were then, but like sometimes was there a switch or like, who was that person before? And when do you notice the contrast as it is now? Because, there could be a difference. So that's just what
Sure.
had me, yeah.
I talk about this in chapter 3 of the book about how my college experience kind of took a lid off of what I thought was a lack of confidence. And it was
Mm,
in a public speaking one-on-one class. So in that class, we had to do 8 speeches in a semester. And our third speech was an instructional speech where you had to give a step-by-step to the audience on something that they
Mm.
would do. And I gave a how to do a pedicure speech, but it was to the men in the room. So instead of teaching the women in the room how to do a pedicure, I was teaching the men so that they wouldn't have to feel the hard bottom of their
Mm.
lady's foot. See? You see?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
in that class, I got a standing ovation. I had never experienced what it felt like to be affirmed in that area, like when you're presenting something. And it gave me a sense of fascination about communication and public speaking. And so
Mm.
after that, I did a beauty pageant on my college, and that was a lot of public speaking. They trained me a lot with, as a matter of fact, it was Miss Black and Gold because I know Deuce is alpha.
Black and gold.
And they
Yeah.
were serious about their pageant. Like, couldn't know anybody be in that pageant. It was they were very
That
selective,
is
and they
true.
trained us for like 3 months. And when I think about it, that's obsessive a little bit.
Yeah.
We had practice for like 4 hours, 3 days a week.
Hey man,
So
somebody took that serious. You know,
listen,
like
they
when
were like,
yeah.
"Y'all not about to get up here and
Yeah.
And
misrepresent us."
embarrass
Yeah,
us.
this
That's
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
That's what we're not doing. Yeah.
Exactly. And it kept refining the skill that I felt like I didn't have. And
That's
so when
cool.
I graduated,
So no, I was gonna say, so it felt like it was over time, is what that's what I was gonna
it
say.
was
Like it was
definitely
like,
graduate. It
so
wasn't
like it
a
was like, yeah, okay,
It
it
was
wasn't
not
because like
not a switch.
some people say like they've had experiences where like it was a switch, right? Like it, was. And like in real estate investment, I'll go back to that because one of the things that we always say is like when you close your first deal and they slide your closing check to you, like, that you like done it. It's like for
switch.
that, it is a switch because in your mindset, like now it's just like you look at houses as an asset now. You don't even look at them
Correct.
like
That's
before
right.
as a kid, Deuce, right? Like, I mean, before you started to just look, oh, it's a house. And now you look at apartment
Man,
complexes,
listen.
you look at all these different asset classes, right?
Correct.
And so
That's a
it just
switch.
helps. So, but in your experience with this, it makes more sense that it is something that you refine over time, and that's not
Yeah.
necessarily a switch. So that's what, yeah, that's cool.
And I
That's
would
cool.
say the reason that is because in real estate, the ability to see that deal and to see fruit from it, that's a mindset. But in
Yeah,
public speaking, this is a skill set.
that's true.
And
Yeah, yeah,
both matter, right? But you
yep.
kind of can get to a mindset sometimes faster than a skill set.
Faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So speaking of
that's
those
a
skill
bar right
sets,
there. That's a bar.
that's a bar. Look, bar. Speaking of those skill sets, Lenita, all right, so you just dropped your latest book, and what do you have coming up? You have something coming up. What do you have for the people? Where can they find you at? We want to
Yep.
know. You want to
Yes.
drop?
So, crazy thing, at the beginning of the year, God told me to give away my public speaking classes. Now, keep in mind, this is not a free class. I don't even treat it like a free class. It's a
Mm,
very in depth training. What he's teaching me is to trust him with all things.
mm.
So, my class is free. Every time I say that, I just feel some kind of way. I'm like,
Let's just.
because in today's internet world, people sell you a free masterclass, but when you come to it, they
It's
don't
not.
give you anything.
Oh
This is
no,
not that.
no.
It's
This
Yeah.
not
isn't that.
that.
You're gonna come in, and people who don't know the backstory at the end of the class, they're like, "Man, that's why this is free." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Trust me, it wasn't my own doing." But yeah, so my next class is gonna be a Friday. Is this Friday actually? Friday the 17th. I don't know when this is coming out, but the class happens every other month virtually. So
Mm.
Okay.
if you just get connected online, I suggested you join the email list. That's probably the best way, but you'll get notifications about the class. But it's also in my Instagram bio as well.
Awesome. So, where can the people listening here find you on the
I
interwebs?
am absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
active on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Lenita Hosten. So that's Linnita, like hosting a party. So Lenita Hosten, Hosten,
Got it.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
We'll definitely get that tagged for you. But no, thank you for that. DJ, any last words before we kind of take this on in?
The last thing I would say is like somebody watching this right now, sitting on an idea, convinced nobody wants to hear it. Look into that camera, and what do you say to them?
Why not? And why not you?
Why
Why
not
couldn't
you?
the idea come from you? And the last thing is those who sow generously reap generously. So when
That's
you
a
sow
fact.
That's a
ideas,
bar.
give ideas, generate ideas, pursue ideas, God gives you more of them. Those who sow sparingly, meaning you ain't generous, or you don't sow at all, they shall reap sparingly.
Listen, what do the
So
girls do? Clock
generous.
it.
I'm saying, yeah, I'm about to
Hey,
say, yeah,
listen,
whatever.
that's a word. That's a word.
That's the
Look,
word
thank you,
right there. Yeah.
Lenita. And for all those listening out there, why not you? And remember, it could be you, or you could just sit there and think. I almost think it's one of those commercials, those ECPI, man. You sitting on the couch one day, you look watching YouTube, and we find Lenita Hosten. So why not you guys? But thank you, Lenita, for coming and joining us today.
Yes.
And for those listening, thank y'all. And always remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.